Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this TheraSimplicity overview. It is our hope that this short session will help you to better understand the functionality and see some of the many materials that TheraSimplicity has to offer. Please keep in mind that we will show you just a small portion of the over 26,000 items currently available on our site, and our focus today is primarily on functionality. TheraSimplicity was started by a working speech pathologist that wanted to find a better way to create, modify, and more importantly access her client materials. Many nights were spent cutting and pasting, followed by photocopying and even laminating some of these items. On more than one occasion, even with a trunk full of great materials, she would find herself at one of her multiple locations, realizing the one she needed was still at home on the counter. An idea was formed for a single, easy-to-access repository for these items. But this was nearly 15 years ago, and believe it or not, even email addresses were still rare. Technology is now caught up, and we all have high-speed internet access almost everywhere we go. Whether you choose to access TheraSimplicity from a PC with Windows, a Mac, or a tablet, it is now possible by simply visiting TheraSimplicity.com from any device with a browser and an internet connection. With over 19,000 images and greater than 7,000 pre-made worksheets to choose from, the possibilities are nearly endless. Our goal today is to cover the best ways to access these materials and view, modify, and save them for our clients' use. We will only see a tiny handful of content areas, as our focus will be more on the functions of the built-in tool set. Before we get started within the site, please remember that all the examples today will be purely to demonstrate the abilities of TheraSimplicity to make your life easier. There will not be any actual therapeutic lessons involved. Let's get started. We begin by logging in using our email address as our username and enter a password. If you've forgotten your username, click the Forgot Login button and it will be sent immediately back to your email address. The first screen we will see is the dashboard page. On the left-hand side we have content areas such as cognition, communication, and swallowing, TheraBoards and TheraGames. These areas allow you to create communication boards and game boards such as tic-tac-toe and start to finish. The TheraTools and TheraEducate section are full of pre-made items, including reinforcers and educational materials. A few links worth making note of along the bottom of the page are the overview link, which gives you a nice visual outline of all the areas. Also, the See It Work section. This area is filled with great short 2 to 3 minute tutorials showing you exactly how to use all the tools and functions TheraSimplicity offers. If you can take away one thing from this training, remember the See It Work section. Save materials in your My Thera section. You can search for specific items using the search function. Let's take a little bit of time to explore the search feature. In this area, you can create worksheets, communication boards, slideshows, and decks. When we reach the first search screen, we begin our search by selecting some criteria. We can choose from initial, medial, and final placement, as well as parts of speech, colors, categories, or phonological processes. You can mix and match these criteria as needed to get the results you expect. We also have the ability to search by keywords. Enter your keyword and then decide what you want to find. Choices include images, photographs, worksheets, as well as all. Let's change our search criteria to be photographs only. To select the images you want to work with, you just click under each item and they are added to a banking system. This system allows you to easily search multiple items such as two different but similar initial sounds like B and P. It also displays how many items you've selected at the top of the screen, and you can even view these to ensure they're the ones you want to use. At that time you can create a slideshow, a worksheet, a board, a game, or a deck. The search feature can also be used to quickly find targeted pre-made materials. Here we will look for the initial L sound and take a peek at a few of them. As we look at these worksheets, we discover another great tool. The small magnifying glass under each worksheet allows you to get a good idea of the materials without having to download and open a bunch of items. All items that we have in color are also available in line art. Creating a worksheet from images is a great way to ensure your materials are as targeted as possible for your clients. In this example, we're going to drill down a bit until we get into the articulation area. There are 15 unique areas in articulation, and the one we will look at is called the Articu series. There's one for each sound, and they consist of initial, medial, and final images, worksheets, and games. The images are currently displayed in color, and you can choose them the same way we did earlier by using the check mark. The toolbox gives us great control over the images. We can convert them to line art and back to color with a simple toggle. We can show them as a slideshow with many features, such as manual navigation, autoplay, and a mute function. On the right side, you see a small plus sign. Clicking this will open more options for you, such as image size, shuffle, and the ability to change the label to a more specific one for your client. These can also be saved as a deck for future use, as well as to be shared through email via MyThera. Anywhere you find images, you can also create a worksheet. After selecting the images you want, click Worksheet in the toolbox. You will be presented with a setup page where you can customize your sheet. First, choose between 1 and 12 images per sheet. You can add a client's name, as well as specify a date. The instructions are more of an overall instruction, such as complete and return at the next session. The other options we have are include text, label images, and shuffle images. Clicking on Next Step takes you to the next page where we can make further modifications. You can choose from preset text that is relevant to that item, in this case, name this item 3 times. You can also insert your own freeform text as we are typing here. If you're asking questions of some kind, you can choose to insert lines with or without numbers. You can apply these changes to a single image, or with one click, apply them to all images on the sheet. Once your worksheet has been created, you'll be able to view it prior to printing. Because it is open as a PDF document, you will see options such as print, magnify, and save at the bottom. There are 2 quick things I want to point out about this save icon. The first is it will not save this worksheet to your TheraSimplicity subscription. It will be saved to a specific destination, either your hard drive or a jump drive. So you will not be able to access this worksheet again through your TheraSimplicity subscription. This brings me to my next point. If you save this to your desktop, you will not be able to edit the worksheet. It will be saved as the static worksheet you see here. But if you save it to your TheraSimplicity subscription, you'll be able to access the worksheet at any time from any computer, as well as have the option to edit the worksheet if you want or need to. So let's continue by saving this worksheet to our subscription, and it'll be saved in MyThera. To do this, we close out the worksheet, and we're left with a few options. Option number 2 is Save Your Work, so let's select that. We enter a file name. The client name and keywords are both optional fields. The description field is the most important one in my opinion. The text typed here will appear when you hover over your files in the future. This is a great time saver and makes it much easier to find your files in the future once you have quite a few saved. I then select any folder I want to save this sheet. Now let's take a look at MyThera and where your materials will be saved. When you first log in, this will be empty and you'll have no files saved yet, but I've had my subscription for a while, so I've saved quite a few things. When you select an item, the toolbox lights up to show what options are available to work with. I can modify, print, and even email this out to a teacher, caregiver, or loved one. Selecting email opens a box where I enter an email address, a short message, and choose whether to send it as a PDF document or as a slideshow. The recipient does not need a TheraSimplicity account to open the printable PDF or run the slideshow. Let's take a look at the different areas of MyThera on the left-hand side. My profile. This tab allows you to keep your contact details updated as well as change your email address and password if needed. My images. You can have up to 200 imported images at any given time. Great examples include sequencing tasks within their client's actual environment, regional and ethnically diverse photos, and even caregivers and family. To add these images, browse your computer, select the image you want, and name it. My files. TheraSimplicity allows you unlimited file and folder storage. Go ahead and create the same structure you would with a traditional file cabinet to suit your working style. My shortcuts. Sound Detective is a great area, so I created a shortcut. It takes me right back to that section with a single click. To save a shortcut, simply click the link and it pre-populates for you. Here's a few examples of the different items that you can save within Sound Detective. You might have noticed the plus My Files icon located under all of our worksheets. This is a great way to save one specific worksheet to your client's folder or to your My Files area in general. Maybe you're just browsing the site and don't have time to print. Using the Add My Files will allow you to save that worksheet for a later time. My Decks. This is where your slideshows will be saved. Let's open up one of these so you can see how it will display, just a little different than the first one we created. A muted out background, but still the same functions. You can advance forward manually, you can open the options, change anything, as well as save as a deck. Let's take a look at how we can create a communication board. There are a number of templates or looks we can choose from: communication, sequencing, visual, and storyboards. Once we select a look, we can choose from quick picks, which are pre-created examples that can be modified, or create one of our own. We will choose the Create option, and we can choose anywhere from 1 to 30 cells per page. This can be changed later if you need the images larger or smaller. We've selected 9 cells in a landscape mode. In the center of the screen you see a variety of categories to choose from, and we can also use the search tool located on the right side of the screen. This time we will search for prepositions, which will then display in the center section. The default display is all, but we can limit our results to photographs only very easily. The next step will allow us to begin to add images to our board. The top left cell is highlighted in yellow and is the active cell at this time. When I select an image, it is moved over there immediately. Clicking the center cell makes that one active, and the next image I select is moved to that space. While I'm adding them in order, you can choose any cell to place the images exactly where you want them to appear. We can now go to the toolbox and change our template. Maybe you want them to print larger, to be laminated. The toolbox will do just as you ask. It will not remove any images when you go to a smaller cell count. It will just make the images larger on a printed page. You can also add text to a cell. Select the cell you want to modify and click Add Text, either above or below the image. Once the text is added, I can then magnify to see the changes. You can also add an additional page if you want to add more images to your board. This is signified by the small little orange arrow. This is one of my favorite areas of the site, as it allows you to see what you're creating, magnify, shuffle, swap cells, do all kinds of different things, as well as run a slideshow all at the same time. Creating games is very similar to creating a board, with the exception of the template layouts. We'll begin with the TheraGame tab on the left side, and we see the different layouts immediately. Start to finish, tic-tac-toe, bingo, and miscellaneous items like spinner games are available. We'll show you briefly an example of a start to finish board, and you can notice they're all available in full color and line art. After we pick a board, we notice all the functions in the toolbox are identical. Choose a category or search for images. The toolbox is readily available for any changes you need to make, as well as running a slideshow or printing. Here are a couple of examples of completed game boards. They are easy to customize, save, and reuse as needed. Thank you for taking the time today to spend with TheraSimplicity. We hope it helps you better understand the product, and please don't hesitate to contact us with any questions. If you're a member of our University Partnership Program, please visit TheraSimplicity.com/training to activate your new account.